Right. Hello and welcome to this CRIBWISE webinar. Very welcome. I think we have some late arrivals as well, so we'll let them in throughout the presentation. But welcome. We call this the theme here is connecting your IoT business solutions. We have a packed agenda and we'll have 30 minutes. So today I'm presenting right now. My name is Joakim. I'm head of CRIBWISE. Most of you have met me before. We should have had Patrik Grönman here as well, but he's unfortunately sick, so you have to listen to me for a bit longer. Then we have a guest speaker here with Johan from Monitor ERP.
Hello.
And then you will listen to the other part of cybersecurity with Elvira. Good. So safety first. Sandvik's number one priority is safety. So since this is a webinar, you are located all over the world. I hope you know your emergency exits. We have no planned emergency drills for the webinar. If you have that on your own location, that's up to you. Emergency number 112 and the local assembly points is up to you to keep track of. The webinar will be recorded. You're all muted, so if you have any comments or questions, put them in the chat and we will take time to answer them when the time is right and if time allows. Again, very welcome. It was a couple of months since we had a touch base, so we would like to say a few things what's happening with CRIBWISE or at CRIBWISE right now. During the year, so far we have onboarded 3 new partners. One is Accurate down in India. Then we have 2 new partners in the UK as well with CIS and ACT, which is tooling distributors. And from previous years, we have Gyllensvaans in Sweden, we have Adeptmec in Brazil, and we have Tedan or Tooling Intelligence in China. And of course, we have our own Sandvik SMS cutting tool divisions with Sandvik Coromant, Seco Tools, Walter Tools, and Dormer Promet. We have expanded quite on the resources when it comes to the website. We have posted some white papers throughout the year. We have updated and published a lot of new articles on the Help Center. And we are continuously posting different blogs, both on the website and on the LinkedIn site. So if you're not following us on LinkedIn, please go in and do so, because there we publish quite a few interesting articles and white papers. In Sweden, we have an upcoming exhibition called Elmia Subcontractor that will take place in Jönköping, 15th to 17th of November. We will participate together with one of our partners, Forum Mekaniska, and please come and visit us if you are stopping by. You have the stand number on the slide attached. The topic for today was, like I mentioned, how to connect the digital solutions. And now we're going into some of the buzzwords when it comes to digital transformation. It generates quite some money as well outside of the buzzwords. We have been reading quite a lot of reports, and here is a report from Mordor Intelligence that will actually mention that digital transformation is generating quite a lot of money. So we would like to make sure how we can get a slice of that pie and help manufacturers to reduce downtime in their production. And as you can see here, 86% of the manufacturers state that a single hour of downtime can cost at least $300,000. So how can we help them to reduce number of hours when it comes to downtime? We have also been reading about market momentum that measure private market activity as a signal on the degree of overall market potential. Signal includes the number of companies in the space, the amount of capital invested in the market, and the quality of investors, among others. Industry leader activity assess the degree of tech market involvement among established industry players. Signal includes corporate venture capital investments, M&A activity, and business relationship, among others. And here we can see the market momentum versus the industry leader activity. And it's quite interesting to read. So Google that if you would like to read more. What we see as well is the buzzword that I just mentioned, anything from digitalization, industry 4.0, technology, control, programming, stock, IoT, data, machining innovation, and so on. So we would like not only to create a lot of buzzwords, because we will also like to do things. And many of these contributors in the digital transformation from industry, especially from the industry leaders, are working in silos. By doing that, it will actually leave gaps and communication breaks for integrated solutions that will talk to each other. And when they do talk to each other, they will create a much higher value than if working in silos. And like I said, we're not only reading report, but what's happening. Sandvik have also started up Lighthouse factories where we're looking into how we can connect disconnected solutions and leverage the Sandvik experience to make customer improve their efficiency, their quality, and also how they can reduce waste. Here, Patrik should have been taking over, but he's unfortunately homesick. So I will talk a bit about ERP integration and what we have seen that can actually do for us. So integration, the digital path to productivity. Here we have seen how connected capabilities of individual solutions, what will they actually make for the customer? They will create a lot of new opportunities. It will save time. It will improve the accuracy, increase productivity and profitability. And many times, they will bridge communication gaps that we could see on the shop floor when it comes to digital solution, working in silos, people also working in silos, department working in silos, and even companies are purely working in silos. So how can we then make the gap to be less? Again, since we, CRIBWISE based in Sweden, have a lot of customer in the industry, and the leading ERP in the industry in Sweden are Monitor, then we were thinking, okay, how can we do this? So we have actually now built and launched a ready-to-use integration that will synchronize purchase order data with Monitor G5. The integration works one way, by synchronizing purchase order data from CRIBWISE to Monitor. The data match, the data actually change in CRIBWISE, trigger to sync with Monitor. Users can view delivery status of orders, purchase quantities, values in Monitor, and so on. This will facilitate supplier invoice handling and approval to match when the invoice from that order is arriving to the company. And by doing that, we have saved many hours of manual input that will eliminate as are any potential errors. So here we're taking out the human error factor out of question. And then how do we see future functionality when it comes to integration? For CAM programmers to see what's available when prepare NC code for machining. Production planning make visible what tooling in stock and machines for accurate production planning in MES or other automation systems. For purchasing and finance, better optimize of level of indirect material like tooling, connect an artificial stock optimizer with order forecast from the ERP. For production management, make sure cost per produced part can be tracked and optimized. We can also connect supplier and manufacturer for simple data population, guiding and automate processes, price update, order update, shipping notes, and invoices. For operator and stock personnel, make sure we always present and make relevant and supportive information available when needed. Good. Then with warm hands, I leave over to Johan.
Thank you, and hello everybody. My name is Johan Holmsten, and I work as Sales and Marketing Manager for Monitor ERP System. So I'm going to talk a bit about our ERP system and how we work with integrations in general. We have our office here in Sweden, main office in Hudiksvall, Sweden. We are in the group 360 employees. And besides Sweden, we have offices in Finland, Norway, Denmark, Estonia, Lithuania, Latvia, Poland, Germany, China, and Malaysia, and also Singapore, where we serve our customers there. We sell on the local market, implement our ERP system, and serve our customers there. So these are our main markets today. We've been in the business for 40 years. So we launched our first ERP solution 1982, which makes us a very old ERP supplier, maybe the oldest one on the Swedish market at least. And we only have manufacturing companies as our target group, small, medium-sized manufacturing companies. That's our only target group. Monitor is a standard system built up with standard modules and options. Which makes our solution easy to implement, easy to support and service, since all our customers use the same system. We avoid customizations as much as possible. We stick to standard and also standard integrations, which I'm going to come back to. We deliver the system as a cloud solution or on-premise, depending on what customer wants. Today we have roughly 5,000 customers spread out in these markets. But Sweden is still our biggest market, where we have a 45% market share. So we are by far the biggest ERP supplier on the Swedish market. For manufacturing companies, I'd like to add them. All right, and when it comes to integrations, we know that Monitor is not the only software that our customers are using. Maybe we are the main software or the heart when it comes to software in the business. But we also know that they have other softwares that we need to integrate with. And we know that when we integrate with other softwares, as Joakim was talking about, customer saves time and saves mistakes. And at the end, we will get a happier customer. So the way we do it is via API. We have an open API where we integrate with other softwares. And we try to, or we work mostly with standard integrations. We try to find strategic partners like CRIBWISE and others, softwares that are common on our market. And we or the partner make out of the box standard integrations that can easily be implemented. And we also work with many other types of softwares, CAD, PDM, nesting systems, warehouse management systems, different types of machines, and so on. And give you an example of another type of integration that we have done, different type of industry than maybe the one you're going to talk about, where we have a red integration with CRIBWISE. But this is a furniture producer, one of the biggest IKEA suppliers. They produce the famous bookshelf Billy, that at least in every household in Sweden you can probably find one. They are about 400 employees, and they have a completely fully automated production. And Monitor is their ERP system, of course, and they use it in every process, also production. But it's a fully automated production line. So every machine, every robot cell that they have is integrated with Monitor. So all the feedback of produced time, produced quantity, waste, stops, and so on are automatically imported from the machines to Monitor. So that's example of how we can make big integrations with our customers. And this is important for our customers to save the manual time that this would take to do manual reporting. All right, that was all my slides. So I hand over back to you, Joakim.
Yes, thank you, Johan. And just to illustrate what I just mentioned about the Lighthouse here, together with the Monitor and Forbo Mekaniska, which is one of our Lighthouse factories, we have created a standard ready-to-use integration with Monitor, as we mentioned, and where we have just used the open API Johan mentioned, and the same thing from CRIBWISE, and then we have built a more or less live integration. So whenever CRIBWISE triggers an order, it gets published in Monitor as well. And when the goods getting delivered, we make a goods receipt in CRIBWISE, and then the people in the back office can see that the goods have arrived. So then when the invoice is coming from the supplier, they have a match, so they doesn't have to go out and do some manual checks for those order parameters physically. It also reduces the risk for manual mistakes while inputting anything into the different systems. So that was the first ready-to-use integration we did with Monitor, and more to come, I would say. But customer Forbo in this case very happy about the first integration, and we are as well. So that makes us believe that we can build others in the future as well, since modern systems should have a modern API catalog that we can use as well. So this whole integration was done without any custom development from Monitor side or from CRIBWISE side. So and that's the way we would like to connect to future solutions as well. Good. Then over to Elvira to talk a bit about the security.
Yes. That's what we're waiting for, right? So as Joakim mentioned now several times, my name is Elvira, and I work with cybersecurity at CRIBWISE and Sandvik, and some of you might have seen me in the earlier webinar. And during the last webinar, I spoke briefly about the cost of cyber breaches, knowing what important assets you have, and I'm going to continue on that today, and also managing accounts, and last but not least, the most important thing, the people part of cybersecurity. So started to talk about supply chain risk, and what is that? So the thing with digitalization and connection is that we're all in this together. So a supply chain threat could, for example, be where someone in your IT chain is getting hit by a breach, and that affects your environment or your data. And that is getting more and more common, unfortunately. But I'm going to talk briefly about today what you can do on your side. So have in mind that this is very basic and there's plenty of other things to do, but these are some of the basics I think that everyone should do. So to start with, we know that we need to understand our assets to start our security work. And a common way of defining assets are people, processes, and technology. So I'm going to dig in a bit more to the technology part today. So a good way of creating a greater understanding of your tech environment is that you can use something called the Purdue model. And that is what we're seeing on the picture here. And the Purdue model is used to portray what assets you have and how they are connected. And the thought with this model is to map your assets into the different levels. And after that, you can look at what the network looks like. So if you would do this yourself, you would start with level 0, where you find the actual processes, and then work yourself up during the tiers or the levels. So what we see now on the picture here on level 4 and 5, that is what we call IT, the information technology. And what we see on level 0 to 3 is what we call OT, operational technology. And that is usually where the magic happens. That's the computers and everything on the shop floor. But what we're seeing now is that the IT and OT line are slowly disappearing. So much because we're using more systems that needs to be intertwined, and we need data from the outside, and we need data from the OT environment, and how are the systems going to talk to each other. And the risk with this line disappearing is that in the IT arena, the security work has mainly been focusing on the confidentiality part and integrity part of securing data, while in the OT arena, the security work is mainly focusing on availability. But when we are losing this hard line, sort of, then it means that there might be some security measures that needs to be taken that has not been considered a priority before. So this will give us an even greater need to patch, also update your systems, and make sure to always patch your assets. I know that that's the only thing we're saying from the security side, patch your assets, but especially when it comes to critical security patchers that your vendors are sending out. Because the majority of the breaches happens because systems are not patched. And cyber criminals are very good at finding these critical vulnerabilities and exploiting them. However, with this being said, and I do believe that you might think this in your heads right now, in some cases it is impossible to patch because a system might be built to be run on an old specific OS, so you can't update it because then everything will break. So this is yet again where network segmentation comes in extra handy, because then that can help you build sort of a fence between different type of assets on your shop floor, if it is done right. So another thing that's actually not visible here is the outsiders. So sometimes vendors on the outside have direct access to assets within the OT arena for simple reasons such as doing service. So these ways into the environment also needs to be secured, of course. So remember, patch your assets and segment your network. Moving forward to the next topic is I want you to think of what are the most important processes for your business, and what would you do if parts of or that whole process no longer would be available or work as it's supposed to be. So we know that availability loss can cost millions and millions of dollars, and that is why we need to have a plan if something actually would happen. And don't forget that the production is important, but there might be other important processes in your business as well, such as the finance department have something, sales, your customer center and such. And on this page, we'll see some important questions I considered and I would like you to consider, but I want to highlight two of them, and those are the last two of them. So if something happens, do you need to communicate to your customers? So we were talking about the supply chain risks. Are you a part of an important supply chain? And also back up your data and do that, of course, before something happens. Otherwise, you will be very sorry that you didn't. And don't make these plans too complicated. A contingency plan should be up to date and it should be useful when you're in a stressful situation. So use simple checklists. That's my take on this. So going to the last topic for today that really ties into the supply chain discussion, and that is vendor management or procurement or whatever you want to call it. So while trying to understand what assets you have looked at your network situation, you might even have already been doing the contingency planning. You will probably realize that you are dependent on others for your shop to operate 100% the way you want, because that's how it looks today. So this dependency might be looked upon as the downside of digitalization because you don't have control over everything yourself. But I think that we need to see the benefits from this. So by doing the right reconnaissance before buying a software or a service to make sure that the vendor, they not only care about quality and the environment, but also cybersecurity and safety, you will have a really good start. And so by choosing a responsible vendor, you don't have to be the expert in cybersecurity nor IT yourself. So you can instead focus on what actually brings your business value. And I think this cybersecurity discussion should be included in your procurement process and also continue on being a conversation topic in your meeting agendas with the vendor after you bought the solution. Because you know the saying, we're only as strong as the weakest link. So this is very brief about cybersecurity. If you want to know some more, we have a white paper on the CRIBWISE homepage. You can also contact me if you have any questions if it comes to security regarding CRIBWISE or something else around security that you wonder. And I will give the word to Joakim. Yeah.
Yes, I have a couple of questions for you, Elvira, posted
Yes.
in the chat, which we really appreciate. So first one is what is the biggest risk? What's the biggest risk for shop floor cybersecurity?
That's a really tough one. I don't like choosing. I think we need to be better at managing accounts and actually looking at the network segmentation so we're not getting. So one common thing we see is that people are not, they don't know of the outsiders. So it's common to see people having direct control over workstations, for example, in the network. So everything is set up really good, but then someone has a direct contact at the shop floor. And I think those kind of secret things we don't know about, the black swans, but also, of course, that we're when I'm saying we in the industry, we're really bad at patching. So yeah, I would say those old servers, old OS, and those black swans.
Sure, thanks. Here it's popping in more questions. I'll take another one before we end here. You know, few customers set up virtual network to practice network segmentation. Is this in general a good idea?
Sorry, what? Yeah, virtual network to practice everyone. I'm gonna be boring here, but it depends on, and I think you need to look at what's best for you and your environment. To keep it short, I would love to have a further discussion around that, but I'm seeing that we have a time limit as well. So feel free to contact me and we can discuss some more.
Yep, sure. I see I have some other questions, Jill, so I will answer that on the side here on different connectivity to different ERP systems and so on. So basically, thanks to Elvira, by the way. That was it, you know, what we had for today. So thank you very much for showing up. It's recorded, so for some of you that arrived late, we will share the recording in different channels as well. Like you said, Elvira, if you have any more questions or would like us to bring up some specific topics for the webinar, let us know. we say thank you. Have a great day or a good night wherever you are in the world, and see you soon again.
Bye.
Bye.